One of the most entertaining aspects about this entire Gamergate fiasco is the media and how hypocritical they are. It seems these days that they're always on the attack. They're either attacking gamers, attacking the very idea of a video game, or specifically video game characters or the people who make them if they don't find that that person is fitting their ideology or agenda. And just as much is true about Stellar Blade, which has been their sworn enemy for weeks now, with IGN France writing hit pieces about the creator of the game as well as the artist, and Kotaku always on the attack, calling gamers this and that, ists and phobes, sexists and simps and perverts, etc., saying that it's ridiculous for anybody to actually like Stellar Blade because the Stellar Blade character looks overly sexualized, right? She's got accentuated features, and these people are upset about that and saying that, well, gamers are a bunch of perverts if they play that game. But then they go behind people's backs and write a bunch of puff pieces about other games that do very similar things. And this is why I think that the media is just a lost cause, because they don't stand on their principles, they don't back up their claims, and they certainly do not tell the truth. And when they're called out on their lies, they backpedal and try to downplay the things that they say so that they don't look like total hypocrites and jerks. But looking like total hypocrites and jerks is exactly what they have accomplished today, because you've got a post from Grums here that I'm going to read. Kotaku senior editor, being Kotaku. Hades 2 versus Stellar Blade, here's the difference. Hades has been marketed as a diverse game and is therefore an ally, while Stellar Blade refuses to bend the knee. That's why they hate it while loving Hades. No hates, Hades is a great game, they just play ball. So a roguelike game that was actually really popular and very successful, and it looks like they've decided to make a few of their characters in this game diverse, and Kotaku is salivating over this, as well as Kotaku's friends from other outlets like The Verge, and they're all very excited because this is their power play against the very idea of Stellar Blade, or at least so they think. What's weird is that in these articles you're about to see, they simp so hard for these characters that it's actually borderline creepy. And it's funny because a lot of the people who criticize Stellar Blade, they're always attacking gamers and males specifically, saying, how dare you find this person attractive? But the salivating on display is some of the most insane stuff I've ever seen. And I actually have the article in question right here. Hades 2 is addressing the first game's lack of body diversity, written by Kenneth Shepard. Hades is famously known for its tight action gameplay, unmatched ability to weave narrative into a run-based roguelike, and for Supergiant Games making the pantheon of Greek gods fine as heck. The team said that beauty was a virtue in its character design, but the fact that the original game lacked body diversity disappointed many. Did it? I've never heard anything like that, but apparently to them, it's a thing. I guess Supergiant showed off Hephaestus, which is a Greek god, during its lengthy technical test stream on April 17th. He's a blacksmith on Olympus, one of many characters who gives the players boons to upgrade their abilities during a run. His appearance in the stream is brief, but his portrait has already caught the attention of fans. So fans, quote unquote, are getting all hot and bothered over this diverse character in a wheelchair named Hephaestus. And this post says, Hephaestus, I am looking so respectfully right now. We need more fat and disabled people. He is so beautiful and I love him so much. And of course, this kind of thing is okay, even though it's a fictional character, right? As long as it fits your narrative and agenda, of course. The new god portraits in Hades 2 are so tasty. Interesting, they're sexualizing these characters, but of course the excuse is, oh, well, they're designed to be sexual because they're sexual in nature as Greek gods like Aphrodite. 55,000 likes on this post. I actually looked at it. 2.9 million views on this post. And the things that people are saying are actually very interesting. Screaming about Hephaestus, he's so gorgeous, so hot. Aphrodite is a lucky woman. Oh, I've only seen Demeter and Aphrodite for this one, but haven't seen the others one yet. Excited, and you've got a bunch of people just salivating, drooling over this. One of the biggest criticisms that they've given Stellar Blade fans is that this woman is way too beautiful, and that her beauty is impossible, and that anybody who likes it is a pervert. I gotta say, the timing of this article is fascinating. It says, when Hades left early access in 2020, then Kotaku staff writer Ash Parrish talked with Supergiant about the teams making everyone in its roguelike hotter than the fires of Hades. Studio co-founder Greg Kasavin explained that as gods, it felt like they would naturally be easy on the eyes as they embodied the beauty of certain ideas. And he says, for some of our characters, their attractiveness is in fact a part of who they are, Kasavin said. Aphrodite and Dionysus spring to mind. For chthonic gods such as Nyx or Thanatos, I think their beauty is more effortlessly incidental. They are the personifications of these profound concepts such as night and death. We felt, how could they not be beautiful? But this is their opinion. And honestly, this excuse sounds like the reasoning that Stellar Blade fans have given that character. So all of a sudden, attractiveness is fine in games, and salivating over characters suddenly is okay again, right? Because it's not Stellar Blade. And this is why I think that there is a huge disconnect. These people in the media have been so poisoned by their desperation to be in a bubble with everybody else that they have gone back on their very principles in order to prop up one game while vilifying another, making them all look like a bunch of fools. Convenient, of course, that they mention Ash Parrish, who is probably one of the worst article writers I've ever seen. If you remember from one of my previous videos, Ash Parrish is a writer for The Verge, and she decided that tens of thousands of people inside of Cabrutus Rambo's Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Discord were a bunch of bigots and racists and misogynists, and she also defended Chris Kindred, who is a Sweet Baby Inc. employee who tried to get Cabrutus Rambo canceled simply for creating a Steam curator page that mentioned Sweet Baby Inc. involved video games. So she defended that while calling everybody who was against Sweet Baby Inc. a bunch of ists and phobes, and then Alyssa Mercanti, of course, who works for Kotaku, propped her up, saying that it was stellar reporting. And they, of course, they're in a bubble, and I've suggested in the past that they're always looking out for each other. I mean, I've seen these people in streams together, Chris Kindred, Ash Parrish, Alyssa Mercanti, all propping each other up, vilifying gamers. And I've seen many instances where they call gamers a bunch of perverts, like, how dare you like this woman for being beautiful? How dare you like her butt? How dare you like her hips? How dare you be attracted to women? And this is the insane argument that they have pushed, but they are also going back on a lot of their comments, because if you take a look at Ash Parrish's Twitter, downplaying and backpedaling is all you see. Quote, I just want the aspiring games journos freelancers to know we all know each other and we all speak to each other. You may be able to get away with being an a-hole for a time, but it will eventually get out, especially if it's chronic or egregious a-holery. And of course, we already knew that these people prop each other up and they're always looking out for each other. That's why Alyssa said that this hit piece was stellar reporting, even though it was based on lies and had no facts to back it up whatsoever. But this is what Sweet Baby Inc. defenders do. They do one of two things. They either vilify something that gamers actually enjoy, or they take something else that gamers enjoy and try to pit it against the other thing that gamers enjoy to try and make it look better than that thing and justify it with a bunch of lame excuses that don't make any sense. And that's not the only thing that Ash has said recently. Remember that backpedaling I was talking about? The funny thing is, people weren't really saying Stellar Blade itself would be bad, only that the game's chosen example of sexy was Remedial. What? Someone responded saying Remedial because she doesn't look like a man or because she isn't 250 pounds. And Ash, of course, says a hot character with a fat A in skin-tight clothing is certainly sexy, but it's a very basic 101 level of it. So therefore, because it's the basics, you guys aren't allowed to like it. It has to be sophisticated and diverse, like Hades too, right? She says it's additional factors, several of which have nothing to do with physical appearance at all. These guys are going back on everything that they've been saying. And it's funny because she goes on to say, right, I don't think much of Eve when I see her because she's very generic. There's not much in addition to her body and clothing that can get me to pay more attention to her, unlike, say, Bayonetta. So this is the kind of nonsense that we're used to, and the fact that these people are coming out and admitting how hypocritical they are is wildly entertaining. Somebody, of course, responded saying, I don't see nothing wrong with some sex appeal. Baldur's Gate 3 fans was having a blast, but Stellar Blade fans can't have a turn. Ash says, it wasn't even really that either, at least for my specific part. It was only that sexiness to some is more than just sticking a nice body in skimpy clothes. Well, apparently these people have not played the demo for Stellar Blade, because not only does that game have a very in-depth RPG system, but it also puts heavy emphasis on a parry and defense system and a very engaging combat system. On top of that, the story is quite interesting because it's humanity being invaded by a bunch of alien demons, and then another alien race, which is Eve's race, comes in to save humanity, and there are plenty of cutscenes to show that this character has plenty of personality and friends and actually experiences emotions. But we're going to pretend that Stellar Blade is just an eye candy video game because these people are not living in reality. And as if right on cue, when this conversation about Aphrodite and Eve from Stellar Blade come into play, Ash decides to retweet a post like this. Aphrodite knows she's hot. You can tell by how she looks at you. Eve doesn't. She's posed but expressionless, so therefore that means that Stellar Blade is in the wrong. Walter says Hades 2 has a wide range of character skin tones, ages, body types. Stellar Blade's women seem to only look like Eve. What are you talking about? This game was made in South Korea. It's a South Korean actress scanned into a video game. What is wrong with these people? It says sexy isn't bad, pretending there's only one type is. So every excuse in the book, they're like, we aren't calling gamers a bunch of perverts. Dreadroberts. It's just that the type of beauty that they like is not the standard, or that they can't think that she's beautiful because she's expressionless in some parts of the game. These people have not played the game. They have not paid attention to the development, because I guess something is fundamentally wrong about being a beautiful Korean actress these days. This is a lot of criticism that I see from these people, and their excuses just don't make any sense. Like, well, this video game has a bunch of diversity, so that beauty matters. But because this game only has one type of beauty, it's wrong, and then people who like it are a bunch of pervs. This is ridiculous, man. And it gets even worse, because Alyssa Mercanti, of course, has something wonderful to say about it. Shocker, this is getting piled on by bots, and because she posted something saying, "Mommy?" Sorry. So, of course, it's completely okay to simp for this half-naked, I mean, almost completely naked character. I don't even know if I could get struck for something like this on YouTube. But the fact that this is what they simp over while criticizing Stellar Blade's Eve, who is actually wearing a full outfit and just has accentuated anatomy, this is that kind of disconnect and hypocrisy that I'm talking about. She says, also, Hades doesn't animate these characters, so it's like you're encountering carved or painted versions of them because they are Greek gods. There is no excessive jiggle or a chance to ogle breathing animations. It's a static, ancient kind of hot. There is power there. No, there is no power there. In fact, everything you're saying right now makes absolutely no sense and goes against the very philosophy that you've been preaching about for weeks now on podcasts and in chats and in your posts, when you're defending Chris Kindred, who tried to get Cabrutus canceled, and defending Ash Parrish, who thinks that a bunch of people in Discord she's never met are a bunch of ists and phobes for not liking Sweet Baby Inc. This is the kind of stuff that you get. She says, also, everyone in Hades is hot. It's got everything. Twinks, bears, dommy mommies, scary daddies, bodacious babes, weird little guys, feral girls, cursed seas, sexy theys, brooding boys. This game apparently has everything. Every kind of sexual attraction that you could ever want in a video game, and that's the one they want you to like. But why? Because it pushes for diversity, not because it appeals to gamers in general. By the way, Stellar Blade, one of the most pre-ordered games of the year. It probably is the most pre-ordered game of the year in many countries. So does it really surprise you that these people are coming out to say these types of things now? Of course, it's completely okay for them to simp over these characters because they're just paintings, but they're all half naked. None of this stuff makes any sense to me, which is probably why people like Grums are calling it out on their posts, pointing out the hypocrisy in their tweets. I mean, you've got other viral posts like these. Stellar Blade character revealed, boo, it's just sexualizing women. She's not real. She's just a sex doll. And then Hades 2 character revealed, same people. Bark, 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 boo. Yes, they're all getting so excited about this, but they're also trying to slam Stellar Blade at the same time, with just the weirdest excuses ever. And this is why gaming outlets like Kotaku are on the decline. I mean, they're doing this sort of thing very often, making a bunch of things up and trying to push a message and bait people into reading their stuff. I mean, this is an article saying that it's about Grand Theft Auto, but what about this is Grand Theft Auto, by the way? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 will be twice as big and more diverse. Yeah, bait article. And by the way, this is a lie and it has nothing to do with Grand Theft Auto. They say what we are making now is what Kingdom Come Deliverance was supposed to be in the beginning, but we're not able to do it because we didn't have enough resources and experience. So it says it'll have a more immersive system and will be twice the size of the original game. But then it says chief among the additions to Deliverance 2 will be more diversity. So they're like, oh, it's going to be so diverse. And why did they say this? Because the guy said, naturally, in a place like this, people can expect a wide range of ethnicities and different characters that Henry will meet on his journey. So they're like, hey, there'll be other ethnicities, and it's like, yes, an agenda-driven game. But who am I to judge when they're writing articles like this? Sure, they did write a hit piece on this guy saying my E3 meeting with a pro gamergate developer back in 2015. Amazing stuff. It really is amazing stuff. And I do find it hilarious, by the way, that while they're slamming Stellar Blade in other articles and trying to make an argument for Hades 2, another writer from Kotaku a couple of days ago is writing articles like these. Stellar Blade combat tips to become the best and prettiest sword swinger. Stellar Blade is actually a good time, and just maybe Yoko Taro is onto something about how compelling the action on offer here really is. After spending a bit of time with the demo myself, my initial discomforts over how slow the game initially felt have slowly faded away. Here's what I've learned and wish to share with you about playing Stellar Blade. Now this is a game guide because it's got combat combat is slower than you probably expect, and it comes in layers. Use the training simulator. Parry. I mean, it points out all of the important functions of the game. And this is the kind of stuff that people want. Fight up close, read enemy attacks blow by blow. Why is it that Kotaku can't write articles like this all the time? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Alyssa Mercanti and people like her, people who defend Sweet Baby Inc. and attack white male gamers, saying that you can't be racist towards white people, the only thing on their minds 24/7 is agenda. And when you don't have agenda in your video game, you are the enemy. That's why they're against Stellar Blade. Even though it's the most pre-ordered game in the world right now, they are against it. Not just because male gamers like the main character of the game or that they think that the game is engaging, but because it's not games like Hades 2. It doesn't have that message. It doesn't promote a bunch of fat and disabled people so that a bunch of these weirdos can go on here and simp and do a bunch of tongue and hot and bothered heart emojis while vilifying Stellar Blade. None of this stuff makes any sense, and this is why I'm saying game journalism is dead. Kotaku is proof of this. The Verge is proof of this. And they're all figuratively in bed together. They're constantly propping each other up. They're sitting in the same streams together, attacking gamers. I mean, they've said some pretty terrible things in the chats. I've already seen proof of this and shown proof of it in my past videos. You guys can check any of those out. Any of those videos with Kotaku in it, there is some spicy information in there that proves that these people are hypocrites. They just constantly go back on the things that they say. They do not stand on their own principles. They backpedal and try to downplay their own harmful rhetoric against the video game and its creators. But then at the same time, they're doing the exact same thing that they're accusing other people of doing because they're unaware hypocrites. But I do think that it's important to show who these people are and what they say because these are the people writing news about video games. So people who are normies are going to see Kotaku articles and they're going to be like, oh, what is this garbage? Oh yeah, Hades 2, I love it. And then they are going to be pulled into a bubble just like Kotaku are. Kotaku is pressured to constantly be in this bubble with a bunch of people who don't play video games. That's why they're constantly attacking Tomb Raider and trying to change everything from within. That's why they're trying to masculinize a bunch of women in video games, a bunch of activists working in the video game industry trying to destroy it from the inside with help from the media, showing their hypocrisy daily. It's really an amazing situation that I only imagine will get worse over time as Kotaku continues to spiral downward. And that is all I've got for you guys in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.